Hello, you're welcome to another amazing episode of the Build Up Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Chijioke Fanku. I have my guy here, Daniel, the guy that I'm waiting to beat very soon. El Clasico next month. We are going to beat them. And a special guest. He's a special guest because, according to the meaning of his name, he's an intellectual. Cerebrone,
Thank you.
welcome to the Build Up Podcast.
Hi, my name is Cerebrone, and I'm on the Build Up podcast. Thank you. Very happy to be here.
We're also happy to have you here. Let him share his intellectual thoughts with us.
Big.
So Rene is a Valencia fan, and
Yeah.
it's amazing because in school then I had someone, or I knew someone who was a fan of Swansea.
Oh.
And I was always saying, why, like, what? It was intriguing. Why are you a fan of Swansea? And I thought it was just, he just wants to be different. But this guy knows, like, the history of Swansea very, very well. Follows them, like, back to back. Let me ask the same question I asked that guy then. What is the inspiration behind being a Valencia fan?
It was just, I was watching a game, I liked the team, and that was it. It's like all of us. No?
Can I ask something?
Right.
Did you support a team before Valencia?
Well, I've been supporting Valencia since 2001.
Wow.
So,
2001.
Yeah,
They were
so
not
I
even
was-
showing La Liga on local
Do you get it?
stations in
yeah, it was
Nigeria.
a Champions League match actually against Arsenal. Quarterfinals of Champions League, and I just fell in love with the team. Like I knew the team before,
Yeah, just
but
with
it
the
didn't
name.
click. But it was that day that I just stuck. It was three specific players: Santiago Canizares,
Yeah.
Kili Gonzalez, and Gaisca Mendieta. And I just said, yeah, this is my team. So, but before that, I was kind of sentimental towards Juventus because of Del Piero. Del
Yeah.
Piero was like my favorite player, so I was just sentimental. I wasn't like I was a fan, but Valencia was the team that like connected, and from there, it's just. But I'm
Daniel?
18 though. I'm
Yup.
18 years old. Just saying. Just putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there.
Like they say, his football age.
Yes.
let's take it like that. Daniel here is a Barcelona fan that
Just-
doesn't want to believe that his club one day will soon be bankrupt, and in his eyes they'll close
If
down.
you insist.
In his eyes they'll
We've
close
said
down.
that for about 5 years now. We're still,
Don't worry, it's
we're
going
still
to come.
surviving.
It's going to
We
come.
still won La Liga in our worst financial year.
Talking about leagues. Talking about leagues now. I call this a myth because personally I don't think it's true.
Okay.
It's a myth because the myth is that the Premier League is the best league in the world. I don't subscribe to that opinion. I feel it is totally false. What do you think, Cerebrone?
Well, this question is very. The fact that we're all La Liga fans already.
Yes,
makes it
I was
unfair.
going to mention that because people will watch this now and think, oh, we just
No,
decided
because I feel here we are going to deal with facts.
Yeah.
There's a difference, personally. There's a difference between the best league in the world. I feel the best league in the world should be. There are different metrics.
Yes, exactly.
And also there's a difference between the most entertaining league and
the
the most competitive league.
The one that has the best players.
Yes. And personally, I feel the Premier League is the most entertaining league. Entertainment in the sense that, there's money, the PR is there, all
Yeah.
of that is there. We just saw what they did with the graphics for goals now this season, what they just did, and so many other things concerning PR.
Sorry to
time,
interrupt you.
blow.
When you say entertaining, is it about that aspect or like the football specifically?
No. Entertainment, I mean, is
Generally.
everything.
All encompassing.
Because PR comes into play in the
Yeah.
and
Branding
entertainment.
and
Yes.
everything.
I feel it's not competitive. And I feel it's not the best league, but it's the most entertaining league.
What do you think is the best league?
The best league in the world is League One to me.
Are you trying to bribe me or what?
No, I'm not trying to bribe
'Cause that's
you.
my league.
I've always
my
said
favorite
it.
league.
League One is the best league in the world.
Why do you think so?
In every league, in every winning team for every league, you must find at least 3 League One products.
They produce a lot of talent.
Please keep going.
That's true.
This is exciting.
You
For me.
must find
Produce
at
a lot
least
of talent.
3 League One products. I'm going to start with Manchester City. They won the Premier League. When Pep came, there was this renaissance of signings. He's signing people.
Yeah.
Who did he sign? He signed Mendy.
Mm.
Benjamin
Bernardo
Mendy.
Silva.
Where did Mendy come from?
Yeah.
The League
France.
One. He
Bernardo
signed Bernardo
Silva.
Silva. Where did Silva come
Monaco,
from?
France.
France. I don't want to go
Oh, no.
further. We just use 2.
Well, for me, I don't think there's actually a best league in the world. I think all the leagues are flawed. And if you look at the numbers, actually, you see that the differences between leagues are very marginal. What you have is everyone doing confirmation bias. For instance,
True.
the Premier League people will tell you, they say a goal scored in France or Spain, they'll say it can never happen in the Premier League.
And then Alan came and
You didn't even need to wait for Alan. It was happening.
Pep
but
came before Alan.
the way they would see it is that when it doesn't fit the narrative that they have in their heads, it doesn't register.
Yes.
Last weekend, I was doing the same thing. Like I was.
Did you see Jackson's goal?
Exactly, that's what I was looking at. I was just looking at that game.
Did you see Jackson's goal?
And I was like, this is the goal that they say cannot be scored here.
Yeah.
It's just like what's happening now in Spain. Mbappe came in, first 3 games in the league, he didn't score. They said La Liga low blocks. And I was looking like, what do you mean La Liga low blocks?
Look at what he did in the last game.
It's not like he has not even faced Spanish teams before.
Yeah.
He's decimated them from your club. Real Sociedad as well.
I mean,
collected.
even
Real
Madrid.
Madrid have collected.
Those teams are not necessarily teams that play the so-called low blocks.
Okay.
Anyways.
Oh,
But
well and
your
good.
point
Okay.
still stands.
But, okay, he played Alaves the other day.
I
We
see
saw
what
the
he
goal
did.
he scored,
Yeah.
right? The same, there were like 7-8 players.
I want to see him against
And he
Bordelas.
just took 2 touches.
I want to see him against Bordelas.
Bordelas
the
is
same,
terrorist.
the same Borderlands, but Lewandowski still
Yeah,
scored
Lewandowski.
against the Borderlands. Like it's like every league has those kind of teams. I think there's a classification of teams.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a team that's going to fight relegation and you're going to play PSG away, you won't come out.
Actually,
You will pack the bus. The same way if you're in Spain and you are maybe a Mallorca or a Leganes,
you have to
you're
sit
going
back.
to Madrid, you will pack the
have
bus.
to
You're going
sit
to
back.
Barcelona, you will pack the bus. Same thing everywhere. So the big teams always have to face those teams.
Yeah.
And the way that you know that those big teams are actually dealing with that kind of problem is that when a player moves from a mid-table team in the same league to a top team, you see the difference in how the person struggles. When how the person plays, Grealish as an example.
Zaha.
Everybody
is also an
says
example.
Pep has made Grealish worse. And I'm just saying Grealish is not facing the same opposition. It's not facing at Aston Villa. It's not going to face one
At
team
all.
packing the bus for 90 minutes. So obviously we have more space
Yes,
to
now to
run.
And
Run,
he doesn't have to
dribble,
carry the
showcase,
team
yeah,
every time.
Exactly. So it doesn't have to do transition ball. You are going to stay there and face everybody 1v1. Sometimes 2 teams, 2 players, and all. It changes dynamic entirely.
Yeah.
And we see this with every top league. If you go to Bayern, and Bayern are going to play against a
Freiburg.
Obviously, they are going
this Bundesliga he's cited. I think Bundesliga is one of the leagues where I feel that yes, some teams do this, but
Yes.
I feel is one of the leagues where personally I've watched them and I feel they stick to their principles.
Yeah.
Like no matter who they are facing, yes, they'll get battered.
Yeah.
7-0.
Yeah,
8-0.
I get that.
But you see that this is what we are going to do.
Yeah.
They stick to it. And sometimes when it pays off, you see teams like Bayern losing like 5-3, 5-2.
And the data even also shows that that's the league with the highest intensity.
Yes.
It's not the Premier League.
yes.
So when someone comes from
Like many people
Germany,
say.
someone comes from Germany and comes to the Premier League, and you're saying it can't handle the intensity of the league. And I'm like,
Remember, there was something they were saying about Ozil one time. Oh, he doesn't run. He doesn't. But do you know
But
the
data
stats
showed
show
that
that
it was-
Ozil was actually
Exactly.
covering a lot of distance. Coming from Werder Bremen.
this is why I don't believe in eye test alone.
Yes.
Because all of us who can watch the same match now,
Yeah.
and our conclusions at the end of the game can be completely different.
Yes.
And how do you bring everything together? This happened with Danny Pereira at my club to this Ozil thing. Everybody was like, he's lazy. You bring the data. He's the one that ran the most.
And
But
he's,
he
he's
looks
always
lazy.
completing 90 minutes, no injury.
No injuries. So everybody's like, he's not doing anything. He's just standing there. But he's moving. You're just not.
You're
his
not
body
seeing it.
language is telling you
Yeah.
that. So I think that people have their reasons. Okay, they also use knockout competitions. This thing is
Spain.
very marginal. Knockouts of Champions League, very marginal. Can you remember when PSG played Real Madrid and with Messi, Neymar,
Yeah,
and
Mbappe.
First leg, they decimated Real Madrid. Messi missed a
Like,
penalty.
oh God.
Mbappe scored late
It
on,
was hell.
1-0. Second leg, they actually dominated that game
And
till like
still
the
scored
70th minute and scored first.
No,
They had
no.
2 disallowed goals. But in the last 20 minutes,
They just switched off.
everything changed. Now, that game finishes and everybody says, you see, PSG are not good. Real Madrid.
Farmers League.
That's not how to analyze.
Yeah.
But they not tell you that the reason why they lost is because their league is not competitive and they switch off. But you just watch the match.
Bro,
Where-
and knockout competitions are like
Anything can happen.
anything can happen.
Yes.
Anything. We saw Chelsea win it back in 2012.
2012.
Without doing it,
They
They
were
were
the worst
getting
team.
battered.
They were the worst team.
In the
You
league.
understand? And they finished 6th in the league.
Yeah.
You could not come out and say Chelsea were the best team in Europe.
At
It
all.
was- you
Even
know,
when they won, okay, I can argue for the
For the
Tuchel own
yeah,
because
that
they
one,
were
they
actually a good team.
yeah, but that
They were actually a
2012,
good team.
it was
was
just a
a
team on its last leg.
Defensive masterclass.
Yeah.
It was even a defense.
No, it was just
It
luck.
was.
To
if
me.
your
To me, it was
opponents
luck.
are having
They
so
were-
many
they-
chances
yes.
against you,
Then it's not a defensive masterclass.
masterclass.
I mean,
per
they
se.
can have chances still, but I think that if your defense is very, very
Yeah.
solid, it also impacts if those chances are going to convert to goals. They will always have chances against you.
There's
I
that.
feel
regardless.
there's actually
I think they
that,
deserved
but I
their
feel-
win shot.
Yeah.
No
I
doubt.
won't take it away
No-
from them. I
no
think
doubt,
they did.
but they were extremely lucky.
Yeah, they also had luck because Messi missed a penalty,
Yeah.
Robben missed a penalty.
Like people that don't miss. And here brings the question, Daniel. We just spoke about Champions, like what Sarah said, the Champions League knockouts, where people use it as a yardstick to judge
Yeah.
best leagues.
Leagues.
We use Spain now. Spain has been the most successful team. Sorry, Spanish teams have been the most successful teams in Europe in the last decade or so.
Yeah.
If I'm correct. Do you think it's a good yardstick to say
La Liga.
La Liga is the best league in the world?
That's a really good question. I wouldn't say 100%, but it goes far. Because for me, like I'm sure people will see, Valencia fan, Madrid fan, Barca fan, they've already talked about this before. No, we haven't talked about it before now. But for me, football lives in Spain at the moment. Because beyond club football, like even the national teams, in the past, say 2 years, Spain has won the youth, they've won trophies at under 19, under 21. I think even their women's team, under 17,
They've
under
dominated.
20, women's World Cup. So I think that beyond La Liga, football lives in Spain and it reflects in every aspect of the game. Like the clubs are successful, the national teams are also successful. And for me, it is very hard to make a case for other leagues against that. And of course, it also helps the La Liga case that, in the past, how many years, say 10, 12 years, most of the Ballon d'Or winners in those years, when they were literally, it's for me, it's for you. You get, so when you bring up those points, it's very hard I don't think it's easy for any counterpoints to surpass that. Yeah,
and I always think that I have this bias against the Premier League because I don't like how people talk about it.
Yeah.
A lot. Starting from when
fans are very
when
condescending.
Pep was in Bayern, everybody was like,
Can't do it in
Pep
this
can't
league.
do that. He came and he's doing it. Haaland,
I'll make sure they never forget.
Like Haaland,
then they
Haaland
said he
is-
couldn't win the
is doing
Champions
the
League without
same
Messi,
thing.
and
Thank
he
you.
won it eventually.
Now,
So
coming down to players,
Yeah.
I see a player like Alex Baena of Villarreal.
Yeah.
Alex Baena is a very good player, but Alex Baena could not. You see how good he is. He could not make the first team,
Yeah.
the Spanish national
National
team.
team, yeah.
Zubimendi too. Zubimendi is so good that Rodri left. I watched that final with some people, and they were like, "Who be this one? Who be this one?"
can I interrupt you for a bit? It took that Euros, that Spain run at the
Yeah.
Euros to make some people see La Liga players in a higher
different light.
because they used to just think that
But it shouldn't have taken that long.
that's what I'm saying.
They don't pay
And I'm not
attention.
going to lie, those people are Premier League fans.
Of course.
It took Spain winning the Euros for like they started to see that these guys are actually ballers. Like they're not.
I say it all the time. When they say, the market is too expensive, blah, blah, blah. And I tell them that these midfielders you're looking for, they live in Ligue 1.
Yes.
You can go to Ligue 1. When I see
look
someone
at
being hyped up,
Camavinga.
when I see someone being hyped up like for one season, and I look at the person, I'm like, yeah, it's good, but why am I hearing 100 million for this person? And why are you acting like this is the only player that exists? They do, like, I remember when Liverpool didn't get Caicedo.
Yeah.
See how Liverpool fans were freaking out.
Oh my God. Meltdown.
How are we going to-
You know
like,
this guy, Enzo Lafay.
Yeah.
I feel that guy is a player that should. Personally, I feel the bias to League One guys is. I've heard some people say that they lack the discipline.
Discipline.
That's a personal thing.
Yeah, I've heard some
Depends on the player.
some
Be a
people say
blanket.
it because there's no reason why you should. Personally, if you as a person can go to say you're signing Caicedo, you're taking that risk to sign Caicedo. Brighton took the risk.
Yeah.
If you can go to South America to take that risk,
Yeah.
you should take the risk with someone like Enzo Lafay.
I think clubs are just getting lazy.
I think they are lazy actually, because if you see the scout, there are some clubs that only go after players that other clubs have.
Yes.
In fact, for a player like Bruno, Man United fans signed Bruno.
Yes.
It was their fans. They kept saying, this guy, how
And also because Man City was also bidding for him.
then all of a sudden, it wasn't that they went and scouted and said, it's a bit annoying how big clubs are so lazy. There are some players that have been screaming for years, sign this guy, and nobody's looking at them. There's this guy that was in Ligue 2, Maxime Dapino, that was his name. It was in one of the worst teams in the league. It was like a mini Verratti. Like you could see his numbers too, like some of the best in the league. And I kept shouting, why is nobody signing this guy? I took it upon myself. I was like, do you know where he ended up? In the Belgian league.
Wow.
In a relegation threatened team. Then he now got a long-term injury, and that was like
Everything.
8. And I'm like, how does this guy land here? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Do you know Saliba? I've been preaching the Saliba gospel when he and Fofana they were together.
That's entertaining.
And it was so decent that Fofana was better then. But I told my guy I preferred Saliba. If you check my old tweets, you see where I'm always saying Saliba.
Fofana was more the all action. Saliba was the
cool headed guy. I've always said Saliba was the Mbappe of centre backs.
Yeah.
When Arsenal signed him, I was happy. Then Arteta started the whole drama. That particular thing made me have a problem with Arteta. Because how do you have someone so good and you're starting?
Do you know that
starting
Arsenal fans
then?
were insulting
Pablo Mari.
Saliba that time? I said that, how do you carry a player who has played in the top division in France? He has faced players like Mbappe and held his own. And you carry him to go and play reserves football.
Why?
And say that he's not ready.
That he's not ready.
You are joking with me. Then when they wanted to loan him out, he said he wanted to go back to France.
Yes.
They wanted to loan him to Newcastle. Fans were now insulting him that why don't you want to, so I can adapt to the league. I said he doesn't need to adapt to
He went
anything.
to Marseille. And I think, was it Nice or
Nice
Marseille?
first.
Yes, Nice
Nice
first
first,
before
then Marseille.
Marseille.
It's like, he doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. He doesn't need to adapt to anything.
They are doing the same thing to Todibo in West Ham now. They are doing the same thing to Todibo.
It's just weird.
And I feel that in terms of this best league thing, Daniel, do you think financial powers also come into play? Because personally, I'm of the opinion that if you give the money that 20th position is getting, you can't compare it with what, let's say, 15th or 10th is getting in La Liga or Bundesliga or this.
Yeah.
So do you think finance is a huge factor to this?
Absolutely, it is. This thing you said is a really good point. If you look at the way, like, for example, TV revenue is distributed in the Premier League, that's one thing I feel like Premier League, I've gotten on lock. Of course, as a Barca fan, well, I'm happy with the way things are, not gonna lie. But objectively,
when Tebas was doing what he was doing,
no, Tebas is conversation for another day. Objectively, though, as a football fan, I would like to see the TV revenue, like
Shared
money
equally.
shared more equally. Finance definitely plays a huge point in the Premier League. The game that you play to get to Champions League championship playoff is literally
Breaks
called
in a
the
lot
richest
of-
game in
Yes.
football.
Yeah.
Why? Because when you win that game, for the next 2 years, I think you're guaranteed like about 200 million pounds as a team that just
Yeah.
came from it doesn't happen anywhere else.
They want to match that financial power of the
So even clubs in relegation zone in Premier League can spend 50 million comfortably on the signing, 40
And
million,
they end up wasting it.
but they have that money.
They have
like
the money.
when Aston Villa signed Bailey, not am I correct? Yes, Bailey, the
Okay,
Jamaican guy.
Leon.
Yes, Leon Bailey. When they signed him, I think Atletico Madrid was going for a signature. Then so many big clubs. The only reason Aston Villa pulled that signing was because they were in the Premier League,
Yeah,
and
that
that's
definitely
where
helped.
this financial thing comes into play.
Yes.
Using Bundesliga as an example, I know you have the data, or not really the exact data, but personally, I don't think the TV rights are well distributed. That's why you see that Bayern has the
Monopoly, basically.
Bayern is. I think it's not bad at all. Like the distribution, I think Spain has the worst.
Yes.
Spain is worse
Spain
than-
is just between
Spain is the worst.
Barca and Madrid. Even Atletico don't
Spain is
even
the worst. It's just gotten better in recent years because they did
Wow.
some tweaks, and that was Tebas. Before, the distribution
Spain
was
is terrible.
way worse.
Yes.
And of course, you needed the consent of Real Madrid and Barcelona to be
Barcelona.
able to. And those ones
and
said,
maybe
lie,
more
lie.
recently Atletico.
I remember the Sevilla president Del Nido back then was like, "We need to change this." He ended up in jail. His file just came out from nowhere.
If you talk, you
corruption.
collect.
So everybody's a bit afraid to trample on certain toes and to push for that too much. But I think also that, yes, money is important in football. You want to get the best players and everything. But at the same time, I'm a firm believer in there being other ways to go about it.
That's where the Bundesliga. That's why I respect them, because
Yeah.
no matter the stunts Bayern wants to pull off,
Yeah,
you still see
Stuttgart just beat Dortmund 5-1
Yes.
last weekend.
with who in quotes
You get
with who.
I agree with what he's saying, because he said something about money is important, but for things to be fair, because the big clubs will, they're already big brands. They will always still have more money.
No matter
for
what.
sponsorships, big stadiums, 50,000 capacity,
I mean,
60,000
we're looking at
ticket
Manchester
sales.
United
Yeah.
with all the money and all the spending.
They'll always have more money.
That club.
So even if
club.
the money is not distributed equally, like if it is a bit more fair than what it currently is now, like
it will help.
it will help.
yeah.
I'm actually shocked with what you just said. If La Liga is worse than Germany, because I've always thought that Germany was the worst.
I think it's because of Bayern's dominance.
Bayern
it
are
felt
just-
like
Bayern are
that.
just-
yes.
Heavyweights. Bayern saved a whole club from going under. They literally saved, I think it was 1860 million, because they saved a whole club from going under. I think they also helped Dortmund as
Yes,
well when
they helped
Dortmund
Dortmund,
were in trouble. So like they're just
They're
it's
like
Bayern.
big brothers
They're like
of-
the national.
And I think I think in the best run clubs financially,
Yeah.
I saw Burnley there. I was very surprised. Burnley and Brentford. I was very
Brentford.
surprised. And I know Bayern tops the list a lot. And I think a secret to their success is I'm a firm believer of, if you're selling plantain, make people that are specialists in plantain head off everything.
Yeah.
Even if it's plantain peeling, this person is, even if it's eating
it's
plantain,
cutting from the
even if
bunch.
it's cutting from the bunch. So it's still Bayern's board.
Bayern are a bit unethical in their practices.
No, truly.
Remember how they got Nabry?
Yeah, truly.
And things like that.
Truly.
They can strong arm clubs
Yeah.
into
Truly.
releasing
But
players
you
or
can only strong arm when you know your onions.
and they've built that power.
Yeah.
So
So compare it with United. Compare it with
that's not a
United.
good. That's not a well-run club.
Thank you.
Let's
At
be
all.
honest.
It's so far apart.
be honest.
And that's why no matter the criticism Chelsea face, I feel they've right a lot of wrongs. Where Chelsea fans now, I've seen where complaints have been made about when they want to sign players. You saw during the summer they were going for Duran. They went for Bakola.
Yeah.
I've been shouting Bakola since he was in Lyon.
They were never
Now,
going to get back with
yes,
that.
He went for everybody.
They went for everybody. But my point is, when these scouts were pinpointing these players, the fans, like Chelsea fans themselves, were like, why are you going for a relegation?
In truth, I mean, I understand why the fans were like that. See, if you spend 1 billion and I can't point to 5 world-class players
Exactly.
in your team, what are you spending on? And why are you changing it after one season?
No consistency.
Do you
The players
understand?
don't even know
If
each
you
other.
give La Liga clubs 1 billion.
Oh.
It's either, okay,
are
maybe
going
on the
to
one
cook.
hand, they can be lazy. Like you see, Barcelona wouldn't have signed Pedri if they had money.
Yes,
Them Gavis, they would not have gotten their
truly.
opportunities.
I told
When they
I
had
told
money, Coutinho, yeah.
That
Dembele.
was under a
Do you
terrible
understand?
management by the
Yeah,
way,
but
Sha.
there's something about money that makes you feel, you know what?
Yeah.
money
I
makes
can
you feel
spend.
yes.
But when you
yes.
don't have money, you have to now dig in
Mhm.
and actually be more sensible.
Yeah, what do
in
I
how you
have?
say. What do I have? Do you understand? And regarding this money thing, I said earlier that at the end of the day, yes, money matters in football. It's very important. You get the best players and all of that. But for you, without the money, there are other ways.
Yes.
I'll tell you, as a Valencia fan, I have never been scared of Real Madrid or Barcelona, especially when they are coming to my stadium. I don't care if you're coming with Zidane. We beat Zidane. We beat... Do you know
The
that we
Mestalla
carried
is
a
a hard place.
relegation-threatened team to Camp Nou
Yeah.
and beat Barcelona with complete... If you see our lineup, we beat them in 2013, 2014. 2 years later, we're fighting relegation again, went there and beat them again with Messi and everybody. So I'm like, why should I be afraid?
Why
right?
do you guys not sign Guedes?
We actually signed him. It was
No, I mean,
for years. Okay.
after
bring him back.
yes,
It's only Peter Lim and whoever.
because
that can
he
answer
was
that,
there
because
for. I think he was in
we should have
Villarreal
signed
last
him
season.
on loan. Yeah, we should have signed him on loan at least twice. And that was a player that was incredible for us. We
Very,
didn't.
very.
Brian Gill was very good for us in the 6
It's
months
true,
I
Brian
spent.
Gill too did
We
not
should have
come
gone
back.
back for him. Didn't happen.
Cheaper options.
Cheaper. It was loan now.
Cheaper options.
But at the end of the day, I say that you have to find a way to work without money. Real Sociedad have been very good.
Oh, very, very.
They
Bilbao
don't
too.
have
Bilbao, I was going to mention
Athletic
that.
Club,
Their model is very
Athletic clubs
interesting.
don't need money.
Yeah.
You bring 100 million, they'll say,
No,
we don't want.
I
Because
think
they don't have
Lyon
any use
too.
for it.
Lyon.
Leon have started changing a bit.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, it comes down to how you plan. Simeone's team that won the league in 13-14 is only one player in that starting 11 that Simeone signed.
Actually,
There were players that were flopping.
actually,
Godin was not looking good.
At all.
Miranda, all of them
Yeah, he made them look
came
good.
and they were not his players. So also when I see some people say, this manager, he has not been backed, these are not his players. I'm like, Simeone won the league against peak Messi and Ronaldo.
Ten Hag that is backed. Look at him. He
Yeah.
bought
You
everybody
understand?
he wants to buy.
So it's not about just spending money and having money. It's about how you use it. And that's why La Liga clubs keep doing well on the continent. Because,
Yeah.
okay, we don't have money, Abi. We'll
Let's-
find a way. We'll promote. We'll go for cheap players. Nicolas Pepe was free
Yes,
this summer. Villarreal went to carry him.
and
It was
see what
right
Pepe is
there.
doing.
And of course, people believe the hype that, he didn't shine us now, whatever.
I
Look at
don't,
what the player has.
I don't believe in that. Pepe did not flop at us.
Yes. So, like,
don't believe
look at
that.
what the player has. Look at your team. How does this player fit? Iago Aspas, that Premier League clubs will probably...
That you were saying
turn their nose- noses up.
worst corner kick in the world.
Right.
All of it. See Aspas.
Aspas is... And his own case was very explainable. He's a village boy.
He
That's
doesn't
just
want
it.
to leave.
He's a village boy. They had to fly his friends to Liverpool.
Yes, he doesn't want to.
So that he will not feel homesick. So you understand the player that you're signing. Reyes ran back to
Yeah.
Spain because he was like, I can't stay in this London. It's too noisy.
Too
It's
cold.
This is that. And he's also a village boy from
Yeah.
Seville. I can't stay here. He had to go back. So you understand who you're signing. You see that Zubimendi didn't go to Liverpool.
At all.
There's a reason why. Like, he thought about it. I was like,
There's no.
I'd rather
need.
just, there's a pride here.
Might still go though.
He might still,
No,
yeah, but
yeah. He might
at
still
least
go.
he didn't feel
still go.
ready, right? It's like there's pride in playing for Real
Yeah.
Sociedad and going to the Champions League with them or going to,
Still
and that
qualifying for
matters.
Europe. I think he has won a trophy with them, the Copa del Rey. Right?
Yes, he has. So all those things, they matter to these players and you see it. Now, of course, money, you can use money to carry anybody. They carried Carlos Soler from
Yeah.
my club. He went to France. Can you see where his career went?
He's in West Ham. now.
He's in West Ham now. It's just going to be a fun house.
and at the end of the day, we'll come back to Spain. So I appreciate La Liga clubs for being able to use what they have.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate Tebas for that thing he's doing with like the finances. That's the only thing I agree with him on. I've ever agreed with him on.
Don't worry.
In my life.
I don't like every club in La Liga hates Tebas. I've never seen somebody that hated before.
His policies are touching
everybody.
Yeah, but you see that thing he's doing with the finances, very important. La Liga clubs will appreciate it
later on
in years to come, because we saw Bordeaux go down in France, like they're in the 4th division because of all those finances and things like that. Because COVID also affected everybody.
Yes.
So it matters. My club, we don't.
You guys were lucky.
6 million, no?
You guys were lucky, or have been lucky, not to be
we
lucky.
should have been relegated.
Yeah.
It was 15 minutes to go
lucky.
that we escaped relegation 2 seasons ago.
So,
but
talking about UCL, this new UCL format, I feel we were conned in the sense that everyone was saying, "Hey, we don't want a Super League, and we don't want European Super League." I feel the new UCL format is it's still the Super League.
Yes. So let me touch on that. I wrote an article about 2 weeks ago or last week when the UCL returned, and I basically talked about how the new UCL format has the Super League written all over it. Like, it's just like a rebranded, UEFA were not against the UCL.
The money will not come.
Exactly. They were not against it because, according to what he said, it was threatening the integrity of the game and this one and that one. No. I let you speak. Like, they were not against it for those reasons. They were against it, to me, they were against it because they simply wanted to be the ones making more money from more games. Like, it's really, really simple to me. And the way everything panned out, like, now they even did a lot of try to do some branding about it. Like, they put up a video where they gathered all the legends. Like, it's almost like they are trying to legitimize what they are doing. Like, they feel like,
this is the right thing.
Football fans it's not hitting football fans, like it should. So they are trying, you can feel like they are trying so hard to make it stick, but people are also fighting it, So I'll let you speak as well.
That format, it was the Super League clubs that brought it to UEFA.
Yes.
So they pushed for it and made sure that UEFA approved it, because UEFA were fighting them over it. Like, they didn't want the format actually. The Super League clubs pushed for it and said, if you don't bring this format, we're going to blah, 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 blah. So as soon as they approved it, they now went and announced Super League. So they were the ones that brought the format.
So they called them.
Now did a coup and tried to do the Super League. So, of course, UEFA had already approved the format. So there was nothing they could do anymore. They had to accept it. And when the Super League died, they had to just adapt to it. So it's still those guys.
Yes, but speaking of those guys, the big clubs, they will get more from the Super League. You know how much the Super League was promising them just to compete, not even winning. They were guaranteed I think 100 million euros.
Question. Will you put football in the hands of Florentino Perez? The soul of football in the hands of Florentino Perez and Laporta.
I'm sure you know my answer.
You are even going for and
Anelli.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's the one I want to talk about. I feel I'm sorry to use this word. I feel he's worse than any other person you want to call, because and then he made a statement when Atalanta faced. I've forgotten the team Atalanta faced in the Champions League. Was it City? No, it was a knockout game. Yes, PSG during COVID.
Okay.
Agnelli was Juve's president then. Agnelli said it's an anomaly. That what is Atalanta looking for here? That we did not come here to watch boring things. That this is football at the elite level. That why should we watch Atalanta?
The way they would have shut out smaller teams.
Yes.
They really wanted to destroy the pyramid, because
why would you say that?
We don't want to watch mid-teams that are not traditional teams.
Yes.
We don't want small teams.
That statement pained me a lot.
It's sad. If you are going to, that's why the whole earn it on the pitch thing.
Yeah.
You have to earn it.
Bro.
You want to be regarded. It's just like Manchester United. You are playing rubbish. You are
but you get the guarantee.
But you want the guaranteed spot
every year.
Always. That's ridiculous.
It's apart from being ridiculous, it reduces the fun of football. Because when Leicester won the league, I was really happy for them, because I was like, wow,
unprecedented.
It's beautiful.
See, look at see what I feel Gasparini, we need to toot his horn, like we need to blow his trumpet. What Gasparini is doing with Atalanta is
incredible.
It's incredible because he's not even signing a lot of people.
You see that it goes back to what I said, that you can do this thing without
when Monaco
necessarily-
won League One too.
Yeah.
The promotion of, I know Marcel will be killing himself. Marcel, because he would have been part of that team.
Yeah.
But he just moved, like, I think a season before.
A year before,
Yes. He moved. So I'm always thinking to myself, this UCL format, yes, I'm simply saying is the main Super League. But another thing that has come up due to this format, everybody has complained about it, or everybody is complaining about it. Rodri has spoken,
Yes.
Son has spoken,
Yeah.
Pep has spoken. Fixture congestion. A lot of people have different views. A lot of people are saying, they pay you guys a lot. Why are you?
I don't like
Why are
that point
you
of view.
doing this? They pay you this. They pay you. Daniel, do you think fixture congestion? Do you think a lot of things have come in football where the players are not being looked after? Looked after in the sense that, to me, there was no need for the Nations League.
Yes, that's where I want to even start from.
Yeah.
There was no need for that. There was also no need for things like, I'm sorry to say, this competition, finalism.
Well, that
I
one's
don't
a
know.
one-off. That's
Yes,
just one game.
No, truly, no.
That's just one game.
It's a one-off, but all these small finalism.
And that's technically a friendly, by the way.
Yes, so
but
there's no need for all
Don't tell
this.
an Argentina is a friendly.
I'm not.
So,
You know.
do you think the players are not being looked after, or the players should just play your match? Abeg?
My opinion on this is very clear. The players are not being looked after. And I think that it started from, so there used to be these friendly games, like international breaks.
For friendlies.
Yeah.
You can have international breaks and then, maybe a player has a slight injury issue or something.
Yeah.
He talks with his national team coach and says, okay, stay in your club, because the friendly we can. But now they brought the Nations League and then we don't even know what the status of Nations League is. We still say, is it a friendly? Is it a competition? But it has a trophy.
But
was it,
but
okay.
people that win it.
But okay, it's a friendly, but if you play in it, you could win something and then you could also get playoffs. So there's something at stake, but then it's still a friendly. So we don't know. But now,
They said it's a glorified friend.
Generally, they made it competitive. So it means that national team coaches demand more from
the players.
clubs, from players to turn up for those
Yeah, they have
games.
to turn up.
Not
The federations
and
to demand more from
exactly,
the coaches.
and not in the way that before, if it was just a friendly, they would take it.
Slow and steady.
That's one. Then, still staying with the organizations now, FIFA awarded the World Cup to Qatar, right? They knew that Qatar could not host the World Cup in the summer. They cannot tell me they did not. Before,
knew,
do you know the process that goes into bidding for the World Cup?
A lot of things.
It
But
takes,
it was a corrupt process.
anyways, everybody knows that, right? They knew, but then they said, they had awarded it, and then they now said, due to weather conditions,
We will change the date.
That also affected in 2022-23 season. That was because playing a World Cup in December. I mean, as a football fan, it felt good. Christmas time, World
players
Cup,
were at
everything.
Peak physical level.
Thank you.
Yes,
And
but
remember,
but it's still kind of-
January is always the time where that's business end of the league.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't think it was appropriate, right? Anyways, that's also another one. Then now we moved on to now they're adding a Club World Cup in 2025. Like it's
Deviating from the normal format.
more games again. Like
Teams.
they're adding 32 teams going to play it in the US. Bruh. And I've been hearing that TV right bidding is not really kicking. Like fans are not
Yeah,
interested.
They need to cancel that thing.
People are
And I
not.
hope
It's
it
not
happens.
moving. It's not moving anybody. Like you see all those things. And then they say, we're looking out for the best, blah 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 blah. But these things will keep, like, 1 year there's one new thing, another year there's something else. Who knows? Next year again there'll be one new competition. So now in the Champions League now, for example, in the previous group phase, you play maximum of 6 games. Now you play at least 8 games.
8 games.
And that's at least. You could potentially, I don't even know, I'm not
more.
even 100% sure I worked, but you could potentially play more. So you see, like, and also players keep complaining. But for me, as for what people think about the players, my opinion about that is football is a very, very demanding sport.
Yeah.
You cannot make it to that level. Like it's only the even in Europe where we talk about there's facilities and all that.
It's the
even
1%.
there,
Yeah.
yes, even
the
they're still the best of the
1%.
best. So I feel, I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I feel like at that level, what footballers get from the game is absolutely deserved. These people put their bodies on the
100%,
line.
Yeah.
You know, they risk injuries. You know, they get injured. You know, it's very demanding. Some leave
their
I think,
families for a very
exactly,
long
and I think
time.
that people don't also understand. Let me take you like roughly into the schedule of a player at the top level. Let's say Real Madrid, for example. You play Champions League, La Liga. If you have a game on Saturday, right, and a game on Wednesday, let's say in the regular season, Saturday you play your game. Before that game, there's a warm-up and all that. You probably spend 4-5 hours at the stadium. On Sunday, you most likely do a recovery session, what they call a recovery session, training. Maybe it's not that much. On Monday, you probably fly out. If you are going to play an away game, you probably fly out, right? Then you land, maybe you do a little training. On Tuesday, you train.
Wednesday
There's
you
something happening. Wednesday, you
must
play.
surely happen.
Wednesday
Early
evening
hours,
or Thursday, you fly back, jet lag. You know, Friday, you train. There's something happening every day at that level. And the reason why footballers earn a lot is not, it's for me, it's also because, it's just simply, football is simply just an industry where there's a lot of cash flow. And naturally,
And they don't even get the money is not.
do you
it's
get
like,
it's
trickling
trickle
to
down?
them.
Yes.
Do
The
you
real
get
people.
They don't
get
even-
all
do you
the
get
money.
if people don't even know it's because
Everyone
of
is
this football.
fixated
Yeah,
on
exactly
footballers
because
they're
of,
seeing.
and
I think that's Rodri's point. Yes, Rodri said
especially
something
for a
like,
player that played so many
so
games
many
last
games.
season.
He said we are being used as tools because they know how much these people make.
Yeah. So their
They
money
know
is
how
not. It's
much.
like what someone said that Jay-Z is rich, but the person paying him is wealthy or something like that.
Yeah, I've
Or
heard
I think it was a
statement like that
basketballer
before.
the person was talking about. But that's the reality.
Yeah.
But you are fixated on the person that you're seeing earning. They're earning £200,000 a week. Then people talk about people talk about coaches should rotate. Okay, I hear that, right? You have a big squad, you should be able to use all your best instead of playing only Rodri every time. Cool stuff. I see that. But here's the alternative view. We're talking about this Champions League format where you say, we want to see more big teams. The minute Pep decides to play 17-year-olds, remember what they did to Wenger when he used to play 17-year-olds in the Carabao Cup?
Carabao Cup.
He's not respecting the competition. But when Klopp did it, he's not
Yes,
respecting
I remember.
competition.
Thank
You're
you.
going far. It has happened this
Klopp
way.
never liked,
Maresca
Rotated.
excluded Palmer. I think
Okay, from the
Nkunku
Conference League,
from
right?
the Conference
And
League, and they
doesn't
said he's
respect
disrespecting the competition.
Exactly. So you don't want them to rotate. You want them to rotate, but you also want to see the best players every time, so that it's worth your time.
your time.
You want the big teams. So if Real Madrid are going to play against Barcelona, and Real Madrid should bench Mbappe, Vini, say they're rotating, and Barcelona should bench Lewandowski, Yamal, Rafinha, everybody. Then they play. Two of them play their beating players.
Because
You still
I
complain.
want to say something here. In football, without the footballers, there is no game.
There is no game.
Yes.
You can play football without the fans. You can
Yeah,
play
truly.
football without a
We saw
stadium.
that already.
We can, as we are on this set now,
can play football.
two of us we can start raising this boundary.
A game
We are
can be
playing
had,
football.
yeah.
That's football.
Yeah.
But there is no football without the players. Every other thing can be absent.
I think football fans are very unrealistic in
Yeah.
how they view footballers. I
Even
think
the standards they set
it's
for
somewhat
them.
utopic.
Yeah,
Like you in your everyday job, even if you are earning £1 million in a month, if that means that people say, "Oh, I'll do it," when you're in that situation, you can't. When you're getting home by midnight.
You don't.
My first job, the day I went for interview, I started the job. They just told me, "Yeah, come and start." Do you know when I got to midnight, I woke up 4 a.m. the next day. I went.
start
By
again.
the third day, I said I don't want to do it again. But I had signed a contract for 2 months. I had to go. Imagine that. And this is me here. Imagine being a footballer. Those demands on you every day on your body.
You know, Henry said something. It's not even the body.
Mental.
Henry said
Yes.
mentally that even
When you
till
lose
now,
a game, how do you
Till-
do you have enough
till
time to
now,
recover
that
before the next
he
one?
still flashes back to the fact that in quotes, he never gave Arsenal.
It's now the Champions League.
Champions
Yes, he didn't score in the final. You know,
That mentally, it still affects him.
Affects
He
him.
said
After how
something
many
about
years,
Trezeguet, the World Cup missing the
Yeah.
penalty. He said Trezeguet now cannot come to start telling you, but within them, they know that
know.
he still thinks about
About
it
it.
till today. Now, which makes me think, do you think it's right that, do you think if the players decide to strike, do you think they're right?
I think they have a right to, because they are not being consulted before these things are done. You are taking out one stakeholder from the equation. You are saying, and those are the ones that actually feel it the most. They have a right to, air their
put
views.
their bodies
and-
on the line.
Because they are putting. Batistuta literally said that he begged the doctor to amputate his legs after retiring because the pain was too
You're
much.
suffering.
They'll be taking injections all the time. Henry said that from 26, 27, there's no day that he did not play without pain. He was in pain every single time from 27 till he retired. And he retired about 35, 36 or something. He was in pain every time. Navas of Sevilla said he has been playing with injury for 4 years, although I think he should have retired.
Yeah, see,
Yeah, Navas is
But that just tells you what these guys go through. People just come and say they are earning big money, that they should reduce their salaries. How about the people in the boardroom? Let them reduce their own salaries too.
people-
they are the ones that agree to this. Let's say, we want to expand the club World Cup. Let's do it. The money is going to
because
come
they're
in.
thinking about the money.
Let's expand the UCL. And see what they are thinking of. I've been opportunity to stay where we are trying to get, let's say, brands to sponsor clubs,
Yeah.
teams. What are these brands looking at? Exposure.
Yeah.
More UCL matches is exposure for the brands.
Yeah. It's more
Going to
more
the
times that
yes,
they're seeing.
going to the club World Cup is more screen time for brands. All this front of the shirt sponsorship, your water sponsors, all of this is more screen time. And let me not lie, looking at it from the club's point of view,
can see why they did.
if I'm a businessman,
Of course,
there
it's
is
a business.
nobody that's the owner of a club. I don't buy that shit where you say I bought this club for passion. It's a big lie. I can't spend
That
the
amount
least
of money.
300 million euros. 300 million euros is not beans. I can't bring out that
For
money
passion.
for passion. It's not
If it was
possible.
about passion, they would have bought Bordeaux.
Simple.
which makes
As
me
well.
want
Yes,
to
now.
ask this question. Do you think that, based on what you said, clubs are looking out for the best interest of their players concerning this?
Why do you think
Absolutely not.
they hand out heavy incentives?
Yeah.
There's no reason why.
Like, don't worry, just go and play. We'll give you extra money. Just
They gave Real Madrid players BMW cars,
BMWs,
latest
based on their-
one.
I mean, that happens.
Do you know how much those cars are worth?
Even Barca players, like their sponsor, one of them, I think
Yeah.
Copra or a
You have medical insurance. They make sure all this. If you request, I know Ibra requested for a private chef, which Manchester United will be paying. They
Yeah.
did it. So these clubs, they know that you're the one that is getting this
Bringing
money.
the money
So
for them.
and in quotes, what this thing they're handing out to you is in quotes chicken change.
Yeah. It is.
So I get the point. If Dangote had bought Arsenal, you think he'll be listening to this thing? Ibra saying,
actually.
this is
Do
investment.
what works for him.
Yes,
Financially.
and if I buy the club, the people I will employ there are the best hands to make money for me. And if they are in meetings, what are they in meetings for? To make money. It doesn't mean it is right,
Yeah.
but I'm saying looking at it
Everybody
from,
will do what they will do. Even
Yeah.
the players too. That's also why nowadays I don't really fault players for doing what they need to do.
yeah,
To
Looking
get
out
more
for
money or
themselves.
Looking out for themselves.
Because
if
the
a
club
club
will
doesn't
do-
want
yes.
you,
They will discard you
Eh?
very quickly.
what they will do to
you
you?
train with
They
you.
will discard you.
Yes, they will
So,
bully you.
What they will
into
do to
leaving.
you?
That's what they did to Gallagher. They
like,
wanted him to go. They,
They did
offered him
not
a rubbish
care.
contract.
They did not care.
You know,
they
and
did not
that's
care.
business.
that's the
It's a
thing.
cutthroat thing.
Player power. I think for me, I'm happy that's back in the day, players did not have this much. They could not force
yeah.
moves out of clubs.
Yeah.
It was
But
that
now I
Osman
think
ruling that
especially
did
with
everything.
this issue on ground, player power is very, very important. Like the clubs also need to know. Like I think it's necessary that the clubs know that we're no longer in those days again. Like players are more vocal.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you
And,
short. You
you
see what Daniel said now about player power. I'm not supposed to say this, but I'll say it. I feel the only place where Fifth Pro have been useful is when it comes to gaming. gaming license for
I-
just Konami.
I mean,
them
I've
and
been critical of
that's
FIFA Pro.
that's the only place
And-
they are useful. This is where they're supposed to.
Yeah, I know they've
speak up.
tried, but still, I don't think they've done enough. I
But,
don't think they're as
do you
powerful
guys
as.
think they're bigger powers, you know?
Yeah,
Do
I
you
think
it's-
they are not. I don't think they are powerful.
They're not.
Yeah,
I think
that's
what
so
it comes
it's
down to
not
at the end of the day. They don't seem to be powerful, but I mean, and the players they sign contracts,
Yeah.
so they can't say they are. I don't think they can even go on strike because they sign
And
contracts.
you know, especially for somebody like Rodri, it was so poetic that
He was not the one that got
he
injured.
complained about
KDB complained.
I
because
say-
and he complained about it like some days ago,
I
Champions
think
League last week, and then
some-
on Saturday or Sunday, he did his ACL and he's out for the rest of the
that's
season.
why some
You know?
players, I think they're
They don't want to
keeping
talk
their
Even
mouth.
Son, yes, Son recently. Son complained, and then I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, like he left the field injured. It's almost like now there's a conspiracy theory that something
Once you speak
they are
out,
trying to do
something will
something to the players that speak up.
Now,
you know.
since we are talking about the
That's why I'm scared for Juskunde now. Ain't nobody touch him.
Since we are talking about the Premier League, I have a huge bias for that league. Huge one. Like, I don't like the league. Now, let me annoy you people more. I have dislike for the Premier League. I have the dislike for how the English play the game. I have dislike for English players too. Now, let me annoy you guys more. No English coach has ever won the Premier League. English coach.
Since its inception in
1992.
1992 or yeah.
There's
Who is
no
the
English
best
coach.
English coach currently?
Eddie Howe.
Can he win the league?
No.
Closely followed, but I know you guys will smash me for this.
Potter.
Yes.
I agree.
Potter is.
I like
I
Potter.
think
Potter
they
is
should
even
have
better
given
than
him
Howe,
time
sir.
at Chelsea.
Potter is
I think he shouldn't have taken the job in the first
one,
place.
and
But I
even
understand why.
yes,
he's
and
saying.
even
it's a
if he
bigger
had
job.
taken it, it should have been stricter.
Yes, put some. But then again,
He
it's
didn't
like
have any power.
No,
yeah, it's
See,
like
That's why Pochettino is gone.
no. Let me use Maresca as an example. When Maresca came in, everyone was like, "Why would you make that decision by saying you want only 24 players?" I feel that move. Yes, I have my reservations for it. No doubt.
That's what they told him
But
to
that
do.
move, despite the fact that
Yeah.
we might say they told him, but you see, that move is also a form of Namide here.
I'm the one in charge
I'm
now.
the one-
Potter was
but-
trying to,
Please, everyone.
yes. And we could see that he had the tactics because there were matches where Chelsea were just unlucky.
I think that. I mean, look at what happened to Poch. Poch did not want Chalobah gone,
Yes,
for instance.
but they wanted.
They wanted him
Chalobah
gone. Now, if
He did not want
when
Gallagher gone
Maresca came, he said some nice things about Sterling.
Yeah,
But as soon as they told him that they wanted Sterling gone,
Because of
he changed.
wages.
He said it's not his type of
Winger.
you understand? So,
but they went to buy Sancho.
so he just adapted to it and said, okay, this is what they want. Because truly, he's a guy who doesn't really have, he doesn't have leverage.
Yeah.
He's not a Mourinho. Mourinho comes into your club, he says,
And
this is
tells
what I
you
want.
what he wants. Before
You
he
have to
comes,
listen.
Seth, before
Pep,
he comes,
you have to
then
listen.
Yeah,
But
I
when you
think-
don't have that leg yet,
yeah,
you can't
and
really
it was
say.
his first big club.
First big
I
club.
think
he just wants to get through the door.
I think the mistake Potter made that Maresca is learning from really is Maresca knows he's good. So I think the first year he's trying to do, okay, I'll do what
you want, yeah. And
I'll do what you
I'll
want.
get
And
myself some
and I'll
leverage.
get myself some
Yeah.
leverage. And I think that's what he's doing because they've been able to actually cut down their squad.
Yeah.
And guess what? We just spoke about fixture congestion. I feel Chelsea are the luckiest club now.
Yeah. Because they can rotate.
They can
without
imagine you're
significant-
dropping Cole Palmer
Yeah.
and it's not looking like you made a mistake.
Yeah.
So they are reaping the fruits of the fact that they were
For their
packing-
level, though. For their level, they can
what is
rotate.
their level?
If they were at a bigger level, they won't be able to do it. Yeah, for their
Yeah,
level,
because for instance, the way Master
they won't be able to do that.
Arsenal on their necks.
Yeah.
Liverpool as well.
Yeah, they won't be
You
able.
gotta rotate at Newcastle.
So yeah, they are rotating, but it's not. I don't think it's necessarily
Right.
because they
I
want
mean, right now,
to.
Real Madrid cannot afford too much rotation.
At all.
Because
No,
Barcelona are
exactly.
already ahead.
Yeah.
I don't think it's because they like it. They just feel like
The other day, as soon as they
Injuries too.
considered,
Yeah.
as soon as they
Injuries too.
considered, oh yeah, Vinny,
Immediately.
enter match.
Immediately.
You understand?
yeah. So it's not like
So-
I don't think they just like to rotate. I just feel like
But personally, where do you think Chelsea will finish this season?
Chelsea, I have no idea what to expect from that team. I don't know what to expect. Every week, I don't know what to expect from them. I don't know if they're going
I
to
don't think
come in
we've
and
seen
score
enough
5
of Maresca
to really know.
to
But I
tell.
do think that the expectation should be top 4.
Okay.
Because if you take over from a
Yeah.
manager who
That
was
would
sacked
most likely be the target.
after he finished 6th,
And then you have
Yeah,
to do
then you
better
have to
than
do
that.
better.
You can't tell me that you will come 6th and then will not tell you, nice, you played good football. No, you have to do better. It's like when we fired Genoro
Yeah.
after a semi-final.
Yeah.
AFCON
Afcon-
finish.
You have to come back and you're telling us that the standard is final.
Final, yeah.
It's as simple as that.
And this guy got to the final.
You know the difference between not getting to the final and this guy getting to the final?
Yeah.
There was
There's a huge difference.
one moment.
Yeah.
The last minute, Mahrez had a free
Mahrez
kick.
had a free kick.
Last minute, South Africa had a chance.
Chance, I
Yes.
remember that chance. I think it was Mudau,
Yes.
player that missed.
If he had scored,
So those
It's
fine
over.
margins are the
margins.
difference. You know.
So-
Anyway, brings us to the build-up trivia. We do it after every fun episode. The trivia today is mention one player that has played in the Europe top 5 leagues. The Europe top 5 leagues: La Liga, Serie A, German Bundesliga, the English Premier League, and the French League on. One player that has played in the top 5 leagues. We omitted something. There's something I wanted to say. The Serie A is underrated.
Oh yeah, it is. I think that's the most unpredictable league in
Yes.
Europe of
Yeah.
leagues now.
Serie A is so
Because who's going to
underrated.
win the league?
Do you know last
It's
season?
very competitive
Last
these
season,
days.
no doubt, Man City was the best team in the world last season. But the only team I could beat my chest to say they could go toe to toe with City was Inter. Even before they played,
Yeah.
I was so sure that because I watched Inzaghi the first few games last season, I was literally saying, "God, what is this?" Like when I saw something, I was watching them one day and I had to pause. I saw when they were defending, they go like in
Very
the same
organized,
line,
Yeah.
the same, even their passing drills. And I told someone I've always liked Çalhanoğlu, but I feel he has never played under a manager that will give him that tactical sense. But Inzaghi gave him
Give
that.
him.
Then he turned to a registrar.
I mean, look at the
he turned to a registrar
Mkhitaryan
immediately. Like
and Çalhanoğlu.
Yeah,
with
players
Barella.
that we thought were
Where you
finished.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what coaching does, really. And again, it goes back to money. This not having money, there's still a way.
Yes.
Just coach.
The only signing they made was, I think, Thuram. Like,
I mean, we
expensive.
got Flick
Wait,
at
Thuram was
Barca
even
and-
free. Oh.
If Laporta went and carried Çalhanoğlu and
They'll shout.
Under Xavi.
They'll
I
shout.
said, okay,
They'll
this is our
shout.
new midfield.
They'll shout.
You'd be like, is something wrong somewhere?
Yeah, when they
can't do
signed,
anything
with this.
for example, when they signed Omo, I was like,
You said,
You were against signing him.
I
you
wanted
said-
Nico Williams. I could literally
Wait, why
roll
do you
on the
need a
floor.
winger when
they-
you had
they-
Fati?
left winger.
Yes, why?
Fatty, the same Fatty just coming from Brighton.
It's not
Uh,
fit like
come
that.
on.
He could get injured again.
Come on. After watching the chemistry, that Nico
I even
Williams
wanted
and
you
Yamal
guys to
had
sign
at the
Williams
Euros,
than
and
because
seeing that they're actually really good friends,
I was
it's a
scared of
no-brainer.
Omo. I was much more scared of Omo than Nico Williams. I don't know.
Omo is also a bit injury prone.
Plus,
No doubt.
in the position, I think they had Fermin coming
Yeah.
through and impressing.
Yeah, I
felt
just
like-
saw that chemistry that Yamal and Nico Williams are. I was like, I want that at my club.
But like the reality is that if they had given you Mickey and the other guy, even the coach, when the coach comes out to say, "What can I do with this?" Everybody will say, "We agree with
We
you."
agree, yeah.
Yet another coach is using it to actually go against Manchester City,
Toe
win
to
the
toe.
league and stuff like that. So you can see that at the end of the day, as far as coaching is good,
Yes.
you might not get
You don't need to
all
spend a
the
lot of
results,
money,
But you see that the
you
team
see
is
the difference.
Yes, it's very clear.
Anyway, this was a very exciting episode. Like his name, the intellectual.
Cerebrone.
Yes, Cerebrone. He brought the intellect to the episode. Very exciting one. Daniel, thank you for coming. Cerebrone, thank you for
having me.
coming. Also, we would like to know your thoughts on what do you think is the best league in the world? And I'm going to diversify this. I want to know if some people agree with me in the fact that there's the most entertaining league, most competitive league, best league in the world. We want to know your thoughts. Generally, the best league.
The one that
in
has the
world.
best players.
Yeah, the one that has the best. Just the best league in the world. And also your metrics for judging this. Always remember to like, subscribe, watch the Build Up podcast on YouTube. listening on Spotify, Apple, and every listening platform. It's your host, Chijioke Okwanku. This is the Build Up Podcast. One love. Ciao.